All right. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the March webinar for our Ecom monthly webinar. All right. So, as Max mentioned previously during the January webinar, we are actually inviting special guests from all around the world to share with you guys different case studies that you guys have requested for to learn and, of course, gain more valuable insights to what other people are doing to help increase their e-commerce store, to help improve their e-commerce store and generate much, much more income. So, without further ado, this month's special guest is all the way from Bulgaria. His name is Dimitar. All right, Dimitar Hristov. I'm not sure if I pronounced it correctly, but I'm doing my best. All right, so Dimitar, I apologize if I didn't do it properly. All right, so just a little bit of a background for Dimitar. He's actually a serial entrepreneur with multiple six-figure stores. All right, so of course he has worked with some of the world's biggest brands like L'Oreal Paris, and on top of running his own e-commerce stores, he also does high-level consulting for businesses who are looking to increase their ROI with some of his advanced Facebook strategies. Okay, so we are very, very honored to have him with us today. So Dimitar, could you say hi?
Yeah, hi everybody, how you doing?
All right. Okay, so of course, these are some of these results that you can see. So of course, you can see these are some really, really, really great and insane results that he has generated with his own Facebook strategies. And of course, he'll be sharing with you much, much more throughout the next hour or so. So of course, Dimitar, take it away.
Okay.
All right, so you can share your screen on your site.
Yeah, of course. Can you guys see the screen? Okay, yeah, thank you, Jonathan, for the awesome introduction, man. I'm really excited about this webinar, and I'm looking to share with you all my secrets and tricks that I used in a couple of years. And yeah, at least if you guys have some questions, please don't hesitate to ask it in the webinar, and I'm gonna answer all of these after the webinar. Okay, so what I'm going to cover is basically who am I and what I currently do. I'll also going to tell you how I got into the e-commerce world and why it completely changed my life. I'm also going to show you the differences between working for myself and working with big clients. Of course, I'm going to share with you advanced strategies that help me grow my businesses. I've also going to show you the exact creatives that helped me and my clients make 1 million in revenue in just under 30 days. And of course, I'm going really hard on social medias, and maybe Instagram is my best platform yet. So I want you guys at least to start implementing stories after this webinar, because I'm gonna show you how to crush it with them. And yeah, of course, I'm gonna share with you some tactics that are relevant in 2019, like increasing your LTV. And finally, I'm gonna share some random golden nuggets with you. Okay.
Awesome. So Dimitar, as a start, why not you introduce yourself, share with us,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
of
yeah.
course our masters, what do you do, and of course how do you get into the industry?
Yeah, of course. Okay, so my name is Dimitar, guys, and I've been in the digital marketing world for well over 5 years now. And I'm pretty sure, like a lot of you, I've started out with just watching YouTube videos. And once I realized what you can do with the power of your laptop, with your phone, I was like super impressed, and I go all in with digital marketing, and that's what I'm currently doing, and I couldn't be more happy about taking this decision. So after that, of course, I've worked with some of the most authoritative brands, like Jonathan said, with L'Oreal Paris, PokerStars, and so many more. But today my main focus is actually consulting to big businesses. So after, before like 2 months, I decided, okay, I'm gonna switch a little bit. So not only I'm gonna make ads for the big businesses, but I'm also gonna do consulting, because I'm gonna explain it a little bit in more details in a few seconds. And finally, of course, if you guys want to say hi on Instagram, just add me. It's at DH Lifestyle. Just yeah, feel free to reach out.
That'd be great.
Okay, yeah. So here are the clients that I've worked with. With all of them, we've generated more than 1 million in revenue. First two, I've already told you about them, but the second two are like super famous fitness influencers. I'm not sure if you have heard of Lazar and Jen Selter, but they're like huge influencers with almost 20 million followers. So this guy right here, Lazar, we were really good friends here in Bulgaria, and he actually helped me like he completely changed my life because it all started as a joke with one single post that eventually hit like 30 million people in the US. So that was a complete game changer, and we just crushed it from there. Okay, so one thing that I want to mention, guys, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are working for yourself, but if you happen to work with clients, just build relationships with those clients, because there's nothing better than turning your clients into friends at the end of the day. So yeah, that's a little side note. So okay, how I got into the e-commerce world, I've already told you that I work with Lazar, and he basically contacted me because I was really great at Instagram and doing social media marketing, and he already had a huge fan base, but we wanted to take it a little bit further. And once we started working, and I've already told you about the post that hit like 30 million people, after that we just hired some stuff. We were basically just two of us. After that we were like, I don't know, like 50 people at the end, with customer service, with marketing support and everything. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got into the e-commerce world. Okay, so here are some results for him, if you don't believe it. This was just last year. As you can see, this was 2018. And yeah, it's really exciting to hit 60 million because, of course, why not? But I mean, I'm more excited about this thing right here, the returning customer rate, because we have been struggling with that for like the last couple of years. And I'm really happy that last year, 2018, was like the best in terms of business. And I think nowadays, if you don't focus on the returning customer rate, your business is gonna be basically dead in just a couple of months. Because
Exactly. So I do think that it is a huge topic that our master sellers. So basically, master sellers is just what we call our mentorship
Mhm.
students here.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I believe there's something that our master sellers will be really interested in learning.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm gonna share with you like super good tactics that I use.
Awesome. All
So,
right. So of course,
yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
So I do understand that you run your own e-commerce business as well as, of course, doing digital marketing for many brands out there.
Yeah.
So what are some of the differences in terms of managing campaigns on both ends?
Well, I mean, thank you for asking these questions. I'm actually gonna show you here in the next couple of slides. I mean, the main difference is like why I decided to stop managing my clients, managing campaigns, is basically because you have all the pressure on your shoulder. Because when you manage someone else campaigns, you have to take care as if it's your own campaign. So you don't have to go like 50% owing like 50% for that client, 50% for other. You have to be 100% for every single client to make sure the campaigns are performing well. So of course the pros and the cons both have pros and cons, but for me, why I chose to do so is because you can be location independent. You can work from anywhere in the world, and even though I pretty much travel all around the world every single month, but I still uh, bring my laptop with me every single time and go all in and like focus on my work there. So that's a huge plus. Uh, what else I've realized is that you can just what's your budget. And here's the thing. For example, when I work with clients, some of them will tell you, "Oh, hey, today you have to spend like this amount," or most of them will just tell you like you have to spend this amount for the entire month, which is like not the best option, because sometimes you want to scale and you see huge potential, but they are not ready to do that, and that's like a huge advantage to choose your own budget. One thing that's really important to me is that I can always experiment. And here's the thing. For example, sometimes you have like great KPIs for the client, but it's just not converting well. Like everything else is doing good, but it's just not converting. And you can tell them that they maybe have problems with the landing page. They have maybe issues with their, I don't know, like email marketing and stuff like that. And when you work for yourself, you can always switch it up. You can always see where things are lacking and just improve them. One thing that is also like super cool is that you have flexible schedules, so your own boss. So yeah, that's like really cool. Of course, there are some cons, like for some of you, but I think personally for me, I like this to deal with challenges every single day, because that means you're progressing, you have a lot of things to do. So if you spend more time working, that's another disadvantage for some of you. But for me, I'm like super passionate about that. I love my job, and I don't mind to work like even when I'm traveling. And the last thing, last but not least, is definitely everything is your fault, which basically means that you can blame anyone for everything. If your marketing campaigns are not performing well, you guessed it, you're the one responsible for that. If the customer support is lacking, of course, you're responsible for that because you hired that person. So yeah, that's kind of the advantages and disadvantages for working for yourself.
All right, awesome, awesome. So of course, uh, you know, everyone has different methods in terms of running Facebook ads, and of course,
Mm-hmm.
different strategies that they have to test the different products. So what exactly are the methods that you found best that is working for you right now?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's actually a really good question, and I'm gonna share with you like the some advanced Facebook ad strategies that I pretty much use every single time I test a new product or something. So yeah, let's just dive into it. Okay, so let's just go straight into the campaign testing and stuff like that, and I'm gonna explain everything in details here. Okay, so here's a method that I usually use, and if you're just starting out or testing a new product, you can go ahead and see if that product is gonna be working, is gonna be performing well. So what I usually do is just start a new campaign with the video views objective, and I'll basically just put two ad sets in each. I'll just put like one single creative, which is, of course is video creative, and just separate the ad sets by mobile and desktop. From then, I'll just run the campaign for 7 days, and the allocated budget is gonna be like $80 for the entire campaign, and of course $30 or $40 per ad set. So from there, yeah, you have a broad video with no call to action, nothing, just promote, just saying what the product is like. Okay, so after that, what you're gonna do is create a custom audience of at least 70% of video watchers. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you have done this before, but why I like this tactic is because you can narrow down the audience after the first video. So when you already have the 75% video watchers, you can then make a new campaign and target the people that watch the first video, the 75% of the first video. So basically what you're gonna do is a little bit narrowing down the audience for the people that have been most engaged throughout the entire video. After that, I'm gonna make another campaign and target 75% of the people that watch the second video. And I'm actually using just 3 video sequences, but you can go like 4 or 5 more. It's up to you. Of course, as when you go further, you're gonna narrow the audience down more. So yeah, you have pretty good target audience after that. Another thing that you guys could test is something that I've realized it's completely different for everybody. Like when you start with the PPE campaign, you just put it on broad, and then you have to create a lookalike or a custom audience. Excuse me. Yeah, a custom audience. So from that custom audience, you realize that it's completely different if you have people that visited your page or engage with your ad. And one thing that I realized is people who clicked on a certain CTA are way more valuable than people that just visited your page, for example, or people who saved your post expressed more interest than people who just engaged with your ad and gave it a like. So after you just create a custom audience, you can then make a lookalike of it, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna give you good results because people don't just they don't just press the like button; they just have to click there and save the post, for example. So they're engaging more with your ad and taking a more effort to engage with your ad, and it's gonna give you more results. Okay, so moving on, after the video testing, after the testing phase is done, I'll just move to CBO. And I'm not sure if you are guys doing campaign budget optimization in the moment, but I was doing it. I was doing it wrong for at least 1 month, and I was like, I can't spend any more money with CBO because it's not working for me. And then I realized I was doing it wrong for my for this whole month. So what I usually do is put in one single campaign my best performing lookalikes of, for example, LTV, likes, purchased users, lookalike 1% of people who visited my page or something like that, or add to cart. So I'll put like 5 different ad sets of the most engaged audiences. And I realized that it's just not converting well with that campaign budget optimization. But then somebody just showed me that if you put the exact, let's say for example, lookalike 1% of purchased users, if you duplicate that like 5 times in your ad in your campaign, you end up with 5 ad sets that are exactly the same with the same creative. So what happens is Facebook will distribute the budget to that specific audience, and even though the audience that you've selected is the same, you basically gonna say like, hey, because there are like different people in that audience. Facebook knows who are like more likely to buy, more likely to add to cart, or more likely to just press like on the ad. So when you duplicate that like 5 times, you understand and you see like which of these is gonna perform better, and you just target that audience that are buyers for you. And yeah, let me know if I explained that well, because I think that's really important. And yeah.
So don't worry about it. All right. So to all the master sellers out there, of course, you guys can post your questions in the Q&A, or of course in the chat box below, and we will have a short Q&A segment later, where you can post your where I will ask the questions to Dimitar and he can answer them on the go. All right. So of course, Dimitar, feel free to continue from here.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so here's a strategy that I use with the CBO. I'll usually just start a campaign with the conversion objective with the CBO, and I'll just put a budget like 10x my CPA. For ideally that would be like 20 to 50x, but you can just start with 10 if you don't have enough budget. So for example, if your CPA is just $20, then your daily budget has to be between $400 or $1,000. Okay, so after that, you have to move on to the ad set that I've already explained, and all you have to do is make duplicates. For example, just create 20 to 50 ad sets of broad, of lookalikes, of interest, and then you have to duplicate every single ad set at least once. So, and you have to leave the placement automatic. That's really important, because you let Facebook decide for you which placement is converting the best. Because sometimes you maybe think, okay, newsfeed is converting better for me, so I'm gonna stick with that. But no, you can realize with CBO that, for example, audience insights is converting way better than newsfeed. So yeah, you basically gonna put the exact same ad creative and duplicate it twice. Don't ask me why, it just converts way better that way, because I mean sometimes Facebook is just unexplainable, you know. So I'm pretty sure that we're gonna work for you. Okay, and then you're just gonna start your campaign, and what you're gonna do, and if you have like if you allocate big budgets for your campaigns, then you obviously have to use automated rules, or something that I've been using for the last couple of months. It's called ReviewBot. It's like a really good tool that allows you to put automated rules basically. But the difference between the two of them are that automated rules inside Facebook, I think they're run in 30 minutes, but with ReviewBot you can run them in every 50 minutes. So it's a huge difference for when you spend big budget, because sometimes your budget can be gone in just minutes. So yeah, here just some of the examples that I use when I use automated rules. So for example, I'll use the ad level and the ad set level, and I will pause my campaigns if they spend double my cost per acquisition and the purchases are equal to 0. So basically you're telling ReviewBot to stop your campaigns instead of you. I'll also do the same for the ad set level, but for X the CPA. Okay. So after that, you realize that sometimes you're gonna make purchases with your ad, but it's not gonna be profitable at all with the CBO. So what you're gonna do is turn off the ad set if the ROI is less than 3. I mean, these are just numbers that work for me. You can basically play around with your own numbers, but this is what's working for me right now. So yeah. Basically
Yeah,
the
so
same.
I think it's something that's very important for all the master sellers to know. So of course, what Dimitar is sharing is based on his own experience, and of course, these numbers are the numbers that work for him. But I mean, as master sellers, as beginners, sometimes these numbers are not applicable to you right now, and of course, the strategies might not be as applicable to you right now. But of course, you can always learn more so that you can implement these strategies when you are scaling in the future. All
Of
right.
course, yeah.
So of course, Dimitar, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so here's something that I call the safety net, and you probably already know if you use automated tools that sometimes Facebook will pause your campaign, but the pixel updates in like 15 minutes, and then it will say that you have one purchase. The campaign turns out to be good, and and if you're not in front of the computer, you can turn it on, and you're basically losing money that way. And if you don't want to pause your good campaigns, you basically can say review bot that if ad status is already inactive, then just turn on my campaign if the ROI is good. Yeah, yeah. So that's pretty much it for the campaign budget optimization. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about the creative that like made us 1 million in revenue with Lazar, and this is what I call the 1 million Facebook creative formula. Okay, so what you're gonna do is start with something that I called short clickbaity text, and we've tested this with long text, with short text, and we've realized that if you're selling low ticket items, it's better to just go straight to the point and put a short text that is kind of like clickbaity. And here's what I mean by that. You obviously don't want to promote something that Facebook is gonna block, but you just want to build out curiosity with a little text that makes people want to click it. Okay, so the next thing we have here is a high contrast image, and I can't stress this enough. We've tested so many creatives, and I'm actually gonna share you in just a few seconds another example. But here, what you can do is what you can see, sorry, is that the image like blends with the newsfeed. Like you don't realize it's an ad. Most of the people that are scrolling their phones and newsfeed, they realize that somebody posted this, and they're gonna get like super excited to learn more about this product, even though it's not an ad. And let me just show you another example of a high contrast image here. Yeah, so let's go ahead here. Okay, so if you take a look at all these 3 examples here, just tell me which one gets your attention at first. Like, is it this one, the guy that is almost as stripped as Lazar, for example, or this carousel here? Obviously, this one gets your attention first because there's so much going on in this image. And I can't stress this enough again. You have to put colors that are just gonna pop in the newsfeed. So for example, don't use blue because obviously Facebook is blue, and don't use white on like a background. So yeah, Jonathan, what do you think? Which one would you click first?
Of course, I'll click the one with Lazar and all the other food
Right?
because
Yeah.
it just gets everything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just sometimes the amateur ads perform well better than like well polished ads that you've spent like 2 days to just make them on Photoshop. So yeah, just put some basic ads like this, and they're gonna be converting way better. Next is obviously the curiosity. As I've already told you, this is the genius 13-week meal system that humiliates the whole fitness industry. Like I know it sounds crazy, but this actually converts incredible. And if of course it builds out curiosity, and people want to click to learn who the fuck humiliates the whole fitness industry, right? So yeah, that's a little side note. One thing that is really important is to don't use buttons on your image creatives. I know that you can do that on your video, but for the image, please don't use it because, as I already told you, it blends and it looks more natural on your newsfeed. So just give it a try, and for us, it performed really well. Final step is you have to include some social proof in your ad. For example, we used thousands of people trusted me and were amazed by the results. You can like use 5-star ratings and reviews, or yeah, you can play around with it. It's up to you. Okay, next thing that you can use is a testimonial ad, and you want to basically put them in a carousel. So with that, you basically target different audiences that are going to be relevant in one single creative. And here's what I mean by that. Yeah, here is it. You basically want to put, just imagine if that was a carousel, and you put on the first one like some Latinos, and obviously in your targeting you have to target these people. So it's not gonna be super relevant if I'm targeting Asian people with let's say Balkan people or something like that, you know. So yeah, it makes like the little differences make huge, like the small changes make the huge difference. So for example, you can basically try to target by race or religion or something like that. You can also put in that carousel, we have a lot of people asking if this meal plan is suitable for vegans or yeah, for vegetarians. So we included a testimonial. So we reached out to influencers and that are already happy with the results, and said to them, hey, would you be able to just record one single video with like 15 seconds or so, just to tell a little bit about your experience, if you're happy with the meal plan, and so on. So yeah, you can target them by a certain way of dieting, which is really good. And we had a lot of people asking if this is like beginner friendly. So we also included people that have not been training before. So that's, and yeah, have not eaten well as well. I think I don't remember the exact creative, but it was based on difficulty. So they're going to say like, hey, this is my first time eating healthy. I just tried Lazar's plan and I've lost like 13 pounds in the last week or so. So yeah, this was really good converting creative. And for example, the last one is targeting by habits or way of life. So for example, a lot of you maybe are just sitting in front of their computers the whole day, and they maybe think that the meal plan is not going to be relevant for them, because when you look at Lazar, you're based in your head, you're imagining like he's all day in the gym and eating well, but that's not the case. Like he's training just 1 hour a day, just eating well, and that's what we're gonna want to promote to people, that you can do that even in your office. So yeah, I hope you get some ideas out of this. I mean, it can be relevant for every business, even e-commerce. So yeah. Okay, so now I want to play some ads that I've used. This is an ad that an Instagram story ad that I've used for Boohooman. They're like a really famous UK brand for clothing. Yeah, I want to play that the first video that I've used for Broad with interest, and then I'm gonna play with you the retargeting.
Oh yeah, we can hear it.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So this was actually me. So as you can see, it was really simple ad, just showing their clothing, no call to action, nothing, like just going straight. And if people like watch 75% of the video, you can remarket them like with more targeted copy. But we just basically did simple remarketing campaign like this one here, with the call to action. Yeah, so like as you can see, it was really simple. On the first one, you have no call to action. After that, you can see that people are already interested if they watched some percentage of the video, so we can remarket them later with that call to action ad. So yeah, it converted really well, and the ROI for the retargeting campaign was completely insane. Okay, so here's another example for PokeStars. As you can see on the first one, just promoting their product, their app. Obviously have a little bit of call to action on this one, but it's not that important. I mean, you just want to make sure that people are aware of your product. So the first video that we usually use is just a product demo, or for example for the Boohooman, it was like just promoting their outfit so people can see what the summer collection would look like and so on. And the remarketing campaign would look something like this, with like simple photo that we did it on video. Just swipe up, and if you can notice, the swipe up is actually jumping. That makes people wanna turn their finger up. So yeah, some little cool tricks that we use. And yeah, that was basically for the creative side. I want to talk a little bit more about the quality of your Facebook user feedback, because that became like super important in the last year. And yeah, okay, so are you guys familiar with actually the customer feedback? Because
About Facebook, is it?
Mhm.
Yeah, so they're not exactly familiar with this. Yeah,
Okay,
so
yeah.
would you care to explain?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what happened in the last year is like drop shipping became super popular, and a lot of people were selling like shit products, and their quality of their page was really bad, and Facebook started to penalize people that are not taking their business seriously. So you can check actually your score on that URL, facebook.com/ads customer feedback. But yeah, you have to pay close attention to all the things that I'm gonna mention here, because that actually gonna improve not only the quality of your ad account, but also gonna lower your CPMs in the most cases. So here's what I mean by that. For example, the comment sentiment. That basically means if the comment is positive or negative. So most of the times, like people that are swearing at you or just posting negative comments, Facebook gonna recognize these words and automatically gonna up your CPM. But if people are saying like, "Oh, I'm super happy with your product. I've been using it for blah blah blah" or something like that, Facebook will understand what the customer is saying, and actually gonna lower your CPM based on that the customer is happy with your product. Another thing is obviously hide market span in report. That you obviously want to avoid that. Yeah, there's not too much to say about that. Just that actually consists of your quality score. Another thing here is the customer feedback surveys that are like, I think this is only for e-commerce, and yes, this is exactly what I mean. When somebody makes a purchase on your site, it's gonna pop in the user's notifications that they can pretty much review your page. And what happens is that most drop shippers that are selling cheap products, people are unhappy with the products, and they can't leave a review. But now what happens is they can leave a review for that specific product or specific page, and Facebook is gonna penalize you based on the reviews if they're obviously bad or good. So
All
if
right, Dimitar, sorry, just to cut you off a little bit there. So are you saying so this is for the purchases that come from your Facebook shop, right?
Yeah, but not only that. I mean, Facebook can track it even if it's just a normal ad and people click on it.
So if let's say the customers make a purchase on the Shopify store, would Facebook be able to do this?
Yes.
All right, fantastic, awesome.
Yeah. So here's one thing: if your feedback is low, yeah, I've already told you that your CPM will be through the roof. But and if your score is under one, like obviously the higher your score is, the lower your CPM will be. So if your score is under one, you not only have to worry about your CPM, but your ad account, because they're gonna block you really soon if it continues to get negative reviews. So let's move on and go to the page views per user. Okay, so now a big factor in the Facebook algorithm plays the page views per user. So for example, if you have just one landing page, that counts just as one page. So what you can do is just like make people click on each segment of your site, so they can just visit more and more pages of your site. I don't know, like it's up to you how you can do that and implement it in your business, in your landing page. But basically, you have to make people visit more pages, because that shows to Facebook that people are engaged with your site and they're not bouncing straight away. Does that make sense? Okay, yeah. Okay, so one thing that you can do about your bounce rate, page load time, and time on site is basically you can delay your pixel fire. So you can pretty much just delay your pixel fire for like 20 seconds. And I know that sounds crazy because you're not gonna market the people that visited your site in the first 20 seconds. But if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense, and that's only gonna only gonna left with an audience of people that are not bouncing straight away after you visit your site. So not only you're gonna have like more targeted audience, but your KPIs are gonna be way better, because that way you're left with customers that are really interested in your product and spend like maybe 30 seconds, 1 minute or so on your site. So that's something you can pretty much try for yourself. Okay, so if you happen to have a negative feedback on your page, there's a couple of things that you can use. And first thing obviously you have to do is start running PPC campaigns. I usually start with 5 or 10% of my budget, so that just brings new people to my page that are liking, that are not complaining, and so on. Page likes, I usually run just like $10 a day or something like that if the feedback is really low, because that way, as I said, there are a lot of people that haven't complained about your site before, so you're bringing new people and your score is going up that way. For rich campaigns, that's something that nobody uses these days, but it's actually really important, because what happens is you bring more people that in your potential reach, not potential reach, in your reach for the ad, and just grab for example, your best performing ad, get the same ID, post it as a new campaign with the reach objective, and just start like running it for like a day or two, and you'll see a dramatic improvement in your feedback score. Okay, so moving on to the next is something that I see a lot of people doing, and sometimes people will see like a creative doing really good, and they'll copy that creative, or just and make a new one and copy some of the like text or headline or something. So what I mean here is to not focus on making like a minor improvements on a single creative, but actually to build a social proof for your one good ad. So here's what I mean by that. If you're constantly making new ads with a little bit of improvement, your cost is always gonna be higher than if you have like one single good ad that you're just boosting off with engagement campaigns, video views. That way, I've realized that once you hit like 10,000 likes, comments, and shares, or for videos, if you hit like 1 million views, like your price is drastically going down. And yeah, that way, of course, you have to spend more on new visitors. Okay, so one thing that I really want to mention here is how to increase your customer LTV. And if you follow my tactics here, you're gonna be like this guy here. Yeah, so Okay, so something that I've implemented for myself. If you check my Instagram, you'll see that I've also do like I'm selling Instagram presets. So for my presets, I think I've targeted them only on Instagram with like the example that I showed you earlier with the broad and then remarketing campaign with call to action. So after that, I've retarget all the people that bought from me with a thank you ad, and it was like super simple ad. I just personally thank the people that bought from me, and I wanted to give them my top 10 Instagram story templates that help me creating even better content. So when the people click on that ad, it was actually a video view campaign, to be, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we'll see on the next slide, but it was a video view campaign, so my price was like ridiculously cheap. And when people click on that, they, of course, if they're happy with the presets that they bought, they're gonna trust me and buy again from me. So here's what happened. It was a video view campaign. Like it was just you can see I spent like $126 on this specific ad, but the ROI is what shocked me here, and it was almost, yeah, right, with just a single video view campaign, because people already know who you are, already trust your product, and with a single like personal message just saying thank you, that's gonna make a whole lot of difference for you. So yeah, just try it for yourself, for your business. If you're selling this was for digital products. So if you're selling again like physical products, you can implement that by just buying or telling people on Fiverr to do a video for you. With you basically just gonna write a script and give it to them and say something like, or if you're that's basically for people that are afraid to go in front of a camera, but for me that's not a big deal. So I'll usually record myself and say, hey, thank you, this is the owner of the store. I want to personally thank you for buying our fidget spinner, for example, I don't know. So if you want to buy a game from us, here's the link. I'll be really happy. You can use that for customer feedback or so on. Yeah, so moving on, increasing the LTV. Here's something that I've come to realize. We had huge improvement with our campaigns when we tested this on Lazar's account. So we basically were targeting worldwide. I mean, we had different campaigns for every single country, but our audience was all over the world, and we had like millions of users. So what we realized later on is, instead of creating one LTV for the entire purchased users, that's gonna leave you with people that, like, for example, it's super broad, and Facebook can't target like that well when you do so. So what we did is we extracted only the people that bought from United States, which for us were the high lifetime value customers. So we extracted these and put it as a customer file on the Facebook ads and created a new custom audience. From there, what we did is create a lookalike from people that bought from the US, and it converted way better than just putting all together. So yeah, you can do that for a medium LTV, that in our case was Europe, and low LTV was basically countries like Indonesia, like India, or so on. You can try it for yourself, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna convert way better. Okay, and finally I have prepared some random golden nuggets for you guys, and I'm actually gonna share with you my screen, what I'm doing. The first thing is to exclude 1% of lookalikes of customers that complain or charge back. So this was a huge game changer for us, and what we did is we had a list of people that complained about their product, or we refunded their money, but instead of just putting them in and waste all that customers, we realized that Facebook is super smart, and what we did is extracted this audience again in a CSV file, I think, just put it as a custom audience on our Facebook, and then we created a lookalike of that audience. So now Facebook knows that if people that complained about our product, they're gonna find similar people that complain about other products as well. So we want to exclude that from our audience because we want to target like really specific and people that are gonna buy from us. Okay, yeah, I want to show you something about the overlapping with saved audience. Let me just show it here. Yep. Okay. So for example, as you can see, this is like a saved audience, and this means that when you go to target your audience in when you start creating a new campaign and you put like your targeting, you can pretty much save your audience. But the downfall of this is that you can't really see if this audience is already overlapping with like your lookalike audiences, for example. So what you can do is just save that audience, don't start the campaign, just save that audience, go to your audience tab in the assets library, and also choose like, for example, I've chosen here the lookalike of 1% LTV. So then you have to click here the actions button and the show audience overlap. And then you can see that, wow, we have a huge overlap here, for example, like 84%. So maybe that audience that we wanted to target in the first place is, there's no point in doing so because it's already overlapping with the lookalike that is LTV. So that's something that you can try for yourself, and it's really good actually. Okay, so moving on, something that we've also done with Lazar is, of course, when you see a ripped guy, there are a lot of comments about how he uses steroids and stuff like that. So we obviously wanted to avoid that. And we put a link in the comments for people that wanted to opt out of seeing our ads. So we basically, when you post a comment with your personal page, it always shows in the top, right? So you're gonna put like, if you don't wanna see our ads anymore, just click that link and you're never gonna hear from us again. So people that click that ad are gonna be sent to a different landing page that they can opt out. And then what we did is create a lookalike of that audience and excluded it from our campaigns. That's like super cool trick that we did there. Something that you can always try is the offer objective. Like, I don't see a lot of people doing that, but it's actually really good because if you see here, it's when you click that offer ad, you see that it will gonna show, like, I think in 24 hours, if the customer haven't bought from you yet, it's gonna show in their notifications, and they can click again because everything happens. They maybe had like they've been busy with their kids or something like that. So when it shows in their notification, they're gonna remember you, they're gonna click your ad and probably gonna buy from you. So that's really good trick that I use. And something that I've come to realize is when you use the tactic that I've already showed you with the video ads, if you use a retargeting video, okay, so here's what I mean. Let's say you're making a retargeting campaign for your store, and you put a simple video on your store. So then what you can do is retarget the remarketing people. You know what I mean? So pretty much your people that you're remarketing, you're gonna remarket them with people who watched your video for 75% of that campaign. Is that all clear? Okay, yeah, so that's really cool trick that I use. And finally, what you can do is, if you're thinking long term, you can basically put a Facebook group in your like thank you page. When somebody makes an order, just put a thank you. Here's our Facebook group. Just feel free to join. We share super good information there, and yeah, feel free to do so. So yeah, that's pretty much what we currently use, and it's been a game changer.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
So, all right. Thank you very, very, very much for that presentation, Dimitar. And Master Sellers, please join me in thanking Dimitar for this wonderful, wonderful presentation. So, of course, if you guys have any more questions, you guys can post it in the Q&A. But yeah, so I think right now, so let me share it back over to my screen. Would that be okay?
Sure.
So yeah, I think Dimitar, I think one question that most of master sellers have is really how do you actually create so many video ads in such a short span of time?
Sorry, what was that again?
How do you actually create so many video ads to in such a short span of time to test so many different products?
Well, you can always hire a VA to do so. You're just gonna, for example, if you're, I'm not sure if you guys are doing dropshipping here or what, but basically you have a lot of options to do so. You can pretty much just buy the product, send it to your VA, and he'll just give you a really good ad, and you can make, if you are creative enough, you can make a lot of ads from that with just one single ad that he makes. For example, you can turn it around, play it faster. For example, just cut it, play it on a carousel. Like you can use it for like 5 different things that are running through my mind right now.
All right, thank you very much for that. And you mentioned previously that you said you wanted to direct people to the Facebook group, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. So do you make the Facebook group a public one, or is it like a secret Facebook group where they would require a request to join?
Yeah, it's a secret group. Yeah, that's the thing, because it feels more special. It yeah, customers feel like they're like part of the secret community. So yeah, it's always secret group.
Awesome, awesome. And of course, when it comes to Instagram stories, do you only focus on certain niches, or do you have or is it for any products at all?
Well, I mean, it really depends what your store is. If you're running a general store, or if it really depends on your business. I mean, we run, yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, if we're selling meal plans, we are gonna do a video about that niche specifically. But if I'm selling, I don't know, like microwave, for example, I'm probably gonna target like broad audience.
Yeah. All right. And do you have any specific criteria that you actually look at when you choose products to do your IG story ads?
Do you have a specific product?
Like any criteria that you have before you actually decide to do a Instagram story ad?
Yes, of course. Like you always have to make sure you film your you either film it with your phone. I mean, you have to be vertical, because that way you know where the creative is going. Other than that, I usually just yeah. Here's one thing that you have to be really careful. Don't include like arrows, or like, there are a lot of tricks you can do to make people like swipe up, but if you use exactly like swipe up and a big arrow, for example, like a really harsh arrow, Facebook is probably not gonna approve your ad. So something that I've done before is like, imagine like my image here on your screen, just like going a little bit up and then coming back down. So people are curious to see what's inside that picture, you know. So they're gonna swipe up, and it's basically the movement of your finger. So that's something that you can try for that.
Thank you very much. And just a very simple, basic question from one of our master sellers here, and that is, how do you actually retarget people who watch the video? Like maybe what do you only use 75% of people who watch the people who have watched 75% of video, or do you actually use multiple?
Yeah. That's the main thing that we do. You can test, like, sometimes 50% of the video watchers are way more are converting way more better than the people who are watching the video for 90% plus. But what else you can do is you can just send them to a different landing page, and that's the only way. Or just put a UTM to your video. That way you can just remarket them with, and you know that people are coming from that video. Other than that, you don't have like much options with Facebook.
I see. Thank you very much. All right. So once again, thank you very much for being part of this webinar,
it was
Dimitar,
an honor.
and we're really glad to have you. And of course, join me, Master Sellers, in thanking Dimitar again for his time. All right. So once again, thank you very, very much for that. And of course, Master Sellers, if you have any questions, don't worry. This webinar will be recorded and posted up on a Facebook group. So for those of you who wishes to watch this again, you will be able to watch it on our Facebook group. And if I'm not wrong, Dimitar, I heard that you're coming to Singapore maybe in May, right?
Yeah, exactly. In mid-May, so I'm really excited to see you guys there if you're gonna be there. So if not, if not, please do not hesitate to contact me on my Instagram or my personal Facebook. I'm always open to answer all your questions. So yeah, if there's something unclear about my presentations, just feel free to reach out.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for that,
Yeah.
Dimitar, and I'll see you soon.
My pleasure. Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Bye bye.